They said Marcus Carter died instantly. The crash was brutal. His sedan was T-boned by a delivery truck going nearly 90 miles per hour, launching the vehicle off the shoulder and into a concrete barrier. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, but it was already too late. No pulse, no breath. The paramedics worked on him anyway, as protocol demanded, but eventually they stepped back, quietly shook their heads, and declared the time of death. 6:27 p.m. He was 34 years old. His wife, Julia, was told over the phone. Her voice didn't crack. Not at first. She just stood still, staring ahead, as if the world had suddenly lost its colors. Grief arrived like a slow, creeping fog that evening, and it never quite lifted, until the unimaginable happened. Marcus came back. The viewing was scheduled for the following Friday. Julia had chosen a soft gray suit, his favorite, and a simple wooden casket. He'd always hated the flashy kind. "If I die," he once joked, "just plant me in a box and get it over with." He had no idea how close to that reality he'd come. The wake was small, intimate. Family, close friends, co-workers. A low hum of conversations filled the chapel while a looped slideshow of Marcus's life played on a screen. Baby pictures, wedding photos, birthday parties. People cried, smiled, and whispered memories into the soft candlelight. At precisely 3:11 p.m., as the pastor stepped up to begin the service, a faint knocking came from the casket. At first, no one moved. It was so soft, so subtle, that people thought they imagined it. But then it came again, 3 sharp knocks, then silence, then a long scrape. Gas rang out. A scream. Someone dropped their glass. The funeral director sprinted forward and unlocked the latches with trembling hands. When the lid creaked open, what they saw defied every law of science, medicine, and reason. Marcus Carter sat up, eyes wide, breathing heavily, drenched in sweat. His chest heaved as if he'd been holding his breath for days. The room erupted. People screamed. One woman fainted. Julia stood frozen, mouth agape, tears streaming down her face as Marcus turned to her and whispered the words that would haunt her forever. "He's still watching." Doctors were called. EMTs rushed in. Marcus was taken to the hospital under heavy sedation. He was physically weak, but otherwise perfectly healthy. No brain damage, no signs of trauma. His heart was functioning. His blood pressure was steady. They ran every test they could. The death certificate had already been signed, but here he was, breathing, speaking, remembering everything. Well, almost everything. He couldn't recall the accident. Not the crash. Not the ride. Not the moment he supposedly died. Instead, he remembered something else. Something dark. Something he refused to talk about at first. Julia stayed at his side. She held his hand as he slept, stroked his hair like she used to, tried to convince herself this was real. And when he finally opened up, she almost wished he hadn't. Marcus described it like this: "I was falling, but not through air, through thoughts, through time. It was like every moment of my life was stretched out in front of me. Every mistake, every lie, every time I looked away when I should have stepped forward. And then I hit something. That something was a place. A vast expanse of darkness where sound moved sideways, and time spiraled instead of ticking forward." He said it wasn't hell. It wasn't heaven. It was something in between. A library without walls. A maze made of memory. And in the center of it stood, Marcus called it the Archivist. Not a man. Not a monster. Something older than either. It had eyes made of ink and hands made of smoke. It spoke without a voice and moved without motion. Marcus said the Archivist didn't judge him. It read him, page by page, thought by thought, and then it made an offer. It showed him 2 paths. One led deeper into the dark, where others wandered aimlessly, lost souls who never came back. The other led upward, back toward the world of the living. But there was a cost, a debt, one that Marcus didn't understand. Not then. He took the second path. The next thing he knew, he was gasping inside his coffin. At first, no one believed his story. Who would? The media caught wind of the resurrection and ran wild with it. Miracle Man, they called him. Religious leaders debated over the meaning of his return. Scientists were baffled. The hospital launched an internal investigation. But the man himself, Marcus, was the one left with the greatest burden. Things started happening to him. Little things at first. He'd wake up in the middle of the night and find himself standing in the corner of the room, staring at Julia as she slept. He'd hear whispers from the drains, smell smoke where there was none. The TV would turn on by itself, playing static that formed faces for a fraction of a second before flickering away. Then came the dreams. Every night, he dreamed of the library, of the Archivist, of people he didn't know, strangers calling his name, begging him to help them escape. He began to sketch what he saw, filling notebooks with labyrinths, staircases, impossible angles. Julia once found a drawing tucked inside his pillowcase, of herself lying in a coffin, her eyes wide open, her lips stitched shut. When she confronted him, he didn't remember drawing it. Things escalated. One evening, Marcus was cooking dinner when he suddenly froze. Knife in hand, eyes rolled back, he muttered a name, David Colburn. Julia had never heard of him. The next day, that name appeared in the news. A local man, David Colburn, had been found dead in his home, apparent suicide. No foul play, no weaknesses, except Marcus described the scene perfectly before it hit the papers. The police began to suspect something wasn't right. They questioned Marcus, but he couldn't explain how he knew. He said he just saw it, like watching someone else's memory through a keyhole. He started writing in his sleep, pages and pages of strange symbols. Some of them matched ancient texts, languages lost to time. Marcus had never studied ancient languages, never left the country, and yet he was writing fluent Akkadian, Sanskrit, Sumerian. Experts were brought in. One of them, a linguist named Dr. Mayfield, asked Marcus to translate an inscription no one had ever been able to decode. Marcus looked at it once and translated it word for word. When asked how, he simply said, "I read it in the archive." Word spread. Cults reached out to him. Occultists offered money, worship, protection. But Marcus refused them all. He said he wasn't a prophet. He was a warning. The Archivist had let him come back, but it hadn't let go. One night, he vanished. Julia woke up to find the bed empty, the front door ajar, and a trail of footprints leading to the woods behind their house. She followed them, flashlight in hand, calling his name. She found him standing in the clearing, eyes rolled back, arms stretched wide, chanting in a voice that wasn't his. It was deep, layered, like a chorus of whispers through cracked vinyl. Around him were symbols drawn in ash. He collapsed before she reached him. When he woke, he begged her to leave, said she was in danger, that the more he remembered, the more it leaked into the world. Julia refused. She loved him, broken or not, haunted or not. But one day, Marcus came home with a scar across his chest. Not a cut, not a wound, a perfect spiral, carved as if with precision. No blood, no pain, just a mark. Julia took a photo of it. That night, the photo was gone, deleted from every device, even the cloud. All that remained was a file named, "You Shouldn't Have." The hallucinations got worse. He saw children with hollow eyes, women weeping blood, men with too many teeth. Julia began documenting everything. Dates, times, drawings, videos. But some of the files would corrupt within hours. Her laptop crashed permanently the day she uploaded a voice memo of Marcus saying the words, "He's almost here." Then came the letter. No return address. Inside, A single sentence handwritten in the same spiraling script Marcus had begun using in his sleep. He remembers too much. The next morning, Marcus was gone. No sign of struggle. No forced entry. No note. Just a sketchbook left behind, open to a page Julia had never seen before. It was a drawing of a coffin. Inside was her, alive, eyes wide, reaching upward, and underneath, written in a language Julia didn't recognize but somehow understood. Now it's your turn.